This is the story of a place that feels unsettling the moment you hear its name. La Isla de las Muñecas, better known as the Island of the Dolls. Hidden in the canals of Xochimilco, about 17 to 19 miles from Mexico City, this small island doesn't look terrifying at first glance. In fact, from a distance, it almost seems quiet. Harmless. But as you get closer by boat, a slow ride, nearly an hour and a half, you begin to notice them. Dolls. Hanging from trees. Dozens at first, then hundreds. Broken. Dirt-covered. Missing eyes. Missing limbs. Their plastic faces cracked by time. And suddenly, without really knowing why, the air feels heavier. Back in the 1950s, this island was nearly abandoned. No tourists. No cameras. No stories being told. Just water, trees, and silence. It was here that a man named Don Julian Santana Barrera chose to live alone. He hadn't always been isolated. He once lived a normal life with his family, working the land, selling vegetables, speaking with neighbors like anyone else. But over time, something in him shifted. He became withdrawn. Deeply spiritual. Distant from the world around him. Eventually, and no one really knows exactly why, he left his family and moved to this isolated island, cutting himself off from society. Just like that. He built a small shack and survived by farming and fishing. Days passed quietly. Almost peacefully. But nights were darker than most people could imagine. No city lights. No distant traffic. Just the sound of water brushing against the land. And then one day, everything changed. According to Don Julian, he found the body of a young girl floating in the canal near the island. He rushed toward her. Pulled her from the water. Maybe hoping, just maybe, she was still alive. But it was too late. She had drowned. Not far from where he found her body, he saw a doll drifting slowly in the canal. He believed it belonged to the girl. He buried her near the water, quietly, respectfully. And then he hung the doll from a tree as a sign of respect, maybe even as a way to comfort her spirit. Or perhaps, to ease his own heart. But after that day, he claimed he was no longer alone. At night, he said he could hear soft whispers. Very soft. Sometimes it sounded like a child crying in the distance. Sometimes, like a faint voice asking for her doll. He began to feel watched. Not just occasionally, constantly. He insisted that the doll's eyes would move. That their heads would turn slightly when he wasn't looking directly at them. That they whispered to each other when the wind passed through the trees. Imagine living with that feeling, every single night. At first, he thought it might be his imagination. After all, isolation can do strange things to a person. Loneliness stretches the mind. But the feelings didn't stop. They didn't fade. So he started collecting more dolls. From the canals. From the trash. From nearby towns, wherever he could find them. He didn't fix them. He didn't clean them. He hung them just as they were, believing that surrounding the island with dolls would calm the girl's restless spirit. As if more dolls meant more peace. One doll became 10. 10 became 50. 50 became hundreds. Over the years, the island transformed into something surreal. Trees sagged under the weight of lifeless bodies made of plastic and porcelain. Some dolls had no eyes, just hollow sockets staring into nothing. Some had no heads. Some were nothing more than a torso dangling from a branch. And when the wind blew, they swayed together. Slowly. Creaking softly. And in that moment, it didn't feel like objects moving. It felt like something else. Something aware. In the 1990s, filmmakers and journalists visited the island and documented what they saw. When the images were released, the world reacted with shock. The island of the dolls quickly gained a reputation as one of the creepiest places on Earth. Tourists began arriving, guided by boat through the canals. Some even brought their own dolls and hung them from the trees, continuing the strange tradition. As if adding more eyes to the forest. Don Julian remained there until 2001. And then, in a chilling twist that still unsettles people today, his body was found in the same canal area where he had once discovered the little girl. The very same place. He had drowned. To some, it was a tragic accident. To others, it was something more. A full circle moment that felt too dark to be coincidence. Too precise. Today, visitors are advised to leave before sunset. During daylight, the island is already unsettling. But as shadows grow longer, as the sky turns orange and then gray, the atmosphere shifts. Many who have visited say they felt an unexplainable presence. A pressure in the air. Some claim their cameras malfunctioned without reason. Others swear they heard whispers carried gently, almost playfully, by the wind. The Mexican government does not officially recognize it as haunted. And maybe there's a logical explanation for everything. Maybe there is. But standing there, surrounded by hundreds of hollow eyes staring back at you, it's hard not to feel something. Even if you don't believe in ghosts. Maybe it was guilt that haunted Don Julian. Maybe loneliness slowly shaped his reality. Or maybe, and this is the part that stays with people, a little girl's spirit never truly left the island. The dolls are still there. And when the wind moves through the trees, they still sway. As if they're trying to say something. Something no one has ever fully understood.